like, don't you guys agree that that's the way that you kind of, I mean, I know Micah is like evangelizing one rooftop at a time, but getting these larger, really capital intensive businesses to adopt electrification seems like the place to go, rather than
most bang for the buck.
Yeah, the most bang for the buck.
Sure.
And rather than like convincing people that the right, goodest thing to do is to drive an electric vehicle, it's convince these corporations that it makes the most economic sense. And they're also the biggest emitters. Like, they've got to be the biggest idling.
It's for sure. So Lori's hit on our first topic for debate, I think.
Okay.
Which is large scale solar versus small scale solar. Believe it or not, in the industry, there is disagreement about which should be pursued when and how and who goes first and when. And for those of you who know me, I'm a big proponent of solar on every house in the city of Philadelphia and in the cities and across the country and everybody's house for that matter. Lori, you're more of a larger development person. Tell us why.
Micah just basically called me Alan Dahl. He was like, I think you like to just tear things down and build big things.
Shots fired.
So no, Micah. No, what I will say is that I think where I always end up is when friends ask me, and Micah hates this, but like when friends ask me, I'm like, do the efficiency stuff first. Get better windows, get better heating and cooling. I love my mini splits. I'm obsessed. I do think that rooftop solar in locations that make sense. I think for folks who have the financial ability to do it, I think it's a great thing. I think Section 8 housing, I think housing developments, I think anything that is government owned and can just where they can afford to buy something and have the value of it amortized over a long period of time. I think that makes so much sense. I guess what I really hate, and this is a bad word, but like, is the virtue signaling that goes along with like solar on a giant mega mansion that is a huge carbon emitter. And I know Micah would agree. So where I end up is, of course, I'm a reformed utility scale developer, and I think those projects have a lot to offer, but I do think the world in the US benefits from more community scaled projects. So the idea that a town or a community picks a location that feels good for everybody-ish, that never happens, but something that feels better.
Nobody agrees.
Yeah, how many 100%. Towns everybody agrees? Right. None. Right. And then they find a place where they can then offer solar, fixed rate solar, because that's the coolest thing about solar, right? Is the fuel is free. So once you plug in, your rate is your rate. And I think that's, I like community solar. I like smaller scale solar projects that fit with communities. And I think they also can make the grid more stable with the idea that you're actually adding generation. So I think rather than building gigawatts of solar in the middle of the desert, I think we can do some of that. But I think we need to really work to incentivize solar projects that make use of existing infrastructure or incentivize the upgrades of existing infrastructure.
Right. I totally, I can get on board with that.